Jayne Mansfield was not only an actress, singer, and nightclub entertainer, she was also one of the biggest sex symbols of the 50s and 60s. In addition to being one of the first Playboy playmates, she was also well known for her highly publicized personal life and scandals. While her film career was unfortunately cut short by her untimely death, she still managed to appear in several films that were hits at the box office, and she was honored for her talent with both a Golden Globe and a Theatre World Award. Even though Mansfield made a name for herself as a gifted performer, she's perhaps best known for the horrific way she died. And recently, Mansfield's daughter has decided to share never-heard details. Join Facts First as we remember this iconic actor's life while discovering new details about her tragic death and how it impacted her daughter's life. June 29, 1967. On the night she died, Mansfield was in Biloxi, Mississippi, for an event at the Gus Stevens Supper Club. After performing twice at the club, Mansfield left with her lawyer and companion Sam Brody, her driver Ronnie Harrison, and her 3 children, Mariska, Zoltan, and Miklos, shortly after midnight in their 1966 Buick Electra 225. She was all set to appear on WDSU's midday show the following day in New Orleans, so they were doing their best to get there quickly. Around 2:25 in the morning, however, while their vehicle was cruising down U.S. Highway 90, about a mile east of Rigolette's Bridge between Slidell and New Orleans, the car they were traveling in collided into the back side of a tractor-trailer while traveling at relatively high speed. The tractor-trailer had reduced its speed significantly and unexpectedly when it had come upon a truck that was spraying a thick cloud of anti-mosquito fogger. The tractor-trailer was engulfed by this dense, view-obstructing spray and lost all visibility. In the front seat of Mansfield's Buick sat the 3 adult passengers, while the children were asleep in the back. Mansfield, her lawyer, and her driver were killed instantly when the car crashed into the semi, while the children managed to survive with minimal injuries. At the time, some reports stated that Mansfield had been decapitated in the incident, but these claims proved unfounded. She did, however, sustain severe head injuries. When police photo scenes from the crime were initially leaked to the public, there was one photo that depicted what appeared to be Mansfield's hair and possibly her scalp lodged in the car's windshield. It was determined later, though, that what appeared to be her head was actually the blonde wig she was wearing the evening of the accident. The aftermath of that tragedy. Mansfield's funeral was held on July 3rd in Pen Argyl, Pennsylvania. The service was presided over by Pastor Charles Montgomery of the Zion Methodist Church, and the service was held at a small chapel at the Poulos Funeral Home. Mansfield was interred in Fairview Cemetery, which is just southeast of Pen Argyl. She was laid to rest beside her father, Herbert Palmer. Following the accident and Mansfield's untimely death, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration pushed for protective underride guards to be installed on all tractor-trailers. While the transportation industry didn't immediately adopt these protective measures, they eventually did become standard on all such vehicles, and today they're known as Mansfield's bars. The car Mansfield met her fate in was morbidly saved by a private collector and turned into a roadside attraction in Florida in the 70s. These days, the car is owned by a man named Scott Michaels and is on display at the dearly departed Tours and Artifact Museum in LA. Jayne Mansfield's daughter finally speaks out. Mansfield's daughter, Mariska, was only 3 years old when her mother was killed in that horrific accident. While she spent the majority of her life keeping silent on the events of that night, she recently opened up to the press and disclosed some never-before-heard details about the event and how it shaped her life. Mariska Hargitay, as you may know, has followed in her mother's footsteps and has made a name for herself in the entertainment industry. Most notably, she's one of the stars of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. When talking to People magazine, Mariska confided that throughout her life, she's done her best to try to avoid dealing with things like pain, loss, and her own feelings, but in more recent years, she's learned to instead lean into her experiences, knowing full well that inevitably we all have to face our own mortality. Mariska admits it hasn't been easy for her to deal with the ramifications of her mother's death, but she says through all the darkness, there's light on the other side. Mariska lights up when she talks about her mother. Mansfield was a bit of a trailblazer for her time. While many other women in her shoes dared not to embrace their sexuality, she did. And that's one of the things Mariska appreciates the most about her mother. When speaking to the press, Mariska explained there are many things about her mother the public didn't know. While the majority of people saw her as the blonde bombshell of a sex symbol she was, they didn't realize she was also quite intelligent and gifted in many different capacities. For one, Mansfield had an IQ of 160 and loved to play the violin. She also had a tremendous amount of love in her heart for her 5 children and her dogs. Mariska further described her mother as being ahead of her time and called her an inspiration. In her words, Jayne Mansfield had an appetite for life, and Mariska says that's something she has in common with her late mother. After her mother's passing, Mariska was raised by her father in LA. Her dad is the former Mr. Universe bodybuilder, Mickey Hargitay, and he had help raising young Mariska with the help of her stepmother, Ellen. Mariska also has 2 brothers in addition to 3 half-siblings. Mariska credits her father for teaching her how to listen and learn. She says when she was young, she was on the lookout for who had tidbits of wisdom and what she could learn from what they had to say. But it's been by this approach to life that she's been able to make sense of the trauma that was thrust upon her at such an early age. Even though her father, Mickey, passed away in 2006, Mariska says she feels very close to him. Even so, she says it was tremendously difficult for her to lose the one person who was the source of her strength and power and never stopped believing in her. While she wasn't able to say goodbye to her mother, Mariska fortunately got a chance to hold her father's hand and send him off to the great beyond. And since his passing, she says she has done her best to carry his torch and the invaluable lessons he taught her about love, compassion, and kindness. Even though Jayne Mansfield passed away when Mariska was just 3, Jayne taught her so much about the importance of sticking to your guns and not letting the world mold you into what it wants you to be. Mansfield stood for independence and the value of tapping into your inner strength. Mariska's father no doubt instilled these values into her while incorporating his own beliefs and ideals into her at the same time. This solid foundation of family support, even from beyond the grave, has had a great deal of impact on the sort of person Mariska has become. Today, she's happily married to her husband, actor Peter Herman, and is a proud and loving parent of 2 sons, August and Andrew, and a daughter, Amaya. While no family's perfect, Mariska says her family is perfect to her. Her childhood experience, even though it was a difficult one, taught her that families come in all sorts of sizes, shapes, and flavors. She has done her best to take what she lived and learned back during those formative years and use that knowledge and experience to give her own family the best possible life she can. Through all the pain and turmoil she experienced by losing her mother at such an early age, she's managed to see the beauty in life and, in her own unique way, help spread it. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know Jayne Mansfield's death led to increased safety standards in the world of commercial transportation? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.